Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell, author of 22 books, Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 19 and counting, and as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And joining me today is my faithful co-host, my loving, adoring, beautiful wife. When's the last time I called you beautiful?
I don't know. You're pretty good about being sweet that way. I appreciate it.
You're pretty good about being beautiful, too. It's like every day you wake up and you're beautiful.
You get up quite a bit after I do.
What, and I'm not awake yet, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of grace there for me to...
Yeah, well, today I want to talk about shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat. Okay.
Yes. Sarah, what do you know about shredded wheat?
I used to really like it a lot. My mom thought it was great. And
Really?
I liked it.
Your mom liked it? Well, she was from Kansas, that's why.
I don't know. She just liked it. The big biscuits, like what you do.
Oh, yeah. Shredded wheat. Looks here, according to Wikipedia, it was first sold in 1892.
Wow.
I'm hoping the stuff I'm buying now is newer than that.
But maybe made with the same good quality. That would be nice.
Well, yeah, probably not,
Probably
because the wheat is different, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it's got to be better than, Fruity Pebbles.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, have you ever wondered why I'm so enamored with the large, giant biscuits of shredded wheat?
I figured it was a texture thing because they absorb the milk better and the sugar. That's what I thought. And they kind of turn this like soft pudding. I always liked those better too. And my mom did also. But why do you think? Why do you think?
That's why I know. I know why
Oh,
I like it.
Okay.
I do like the texture.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
But it's primarily it's what it reminds me of. It's like
Pudding?
one of the very few fond memories I have of my paternal grandfather.
Mm.
He loved the giant biscuit shredded wheat things.
Yeah.
And my dad liked them too, but we couldn't afford to buy, pre-made cereal like that. But my grandpa had that, and I believe it was Nabisco shredded wheat. Now it's Post shredded wheat.
Okay.
It was Kellogg shredded wheat. I mean, just all kinds of, I think it's been to like 3 different companies, right?
Okay.
But I just love it because my grandfather, I don't have very many fond memories of him. In fact, I have a lot of bad memories of him.
Oh.
He was his whole adult life, the whole time I knew him, he was a chain smoking alcoholic.
Mm.
And but that's that one thing, that one memory that I have of him that I really like. And I know that's not much, but sometimes you have to take what you can get and just be satisfied with it. So
It's good. That way you don't get...
Well, it's the oldness thing, right? I mean, that would have been in like 1962 or something that I'm going back to. And when we talk about the news and things like that and current events, the way the world is right now, how society is going down the tubes, I think of my grandparents and how they would have, if they were still alive. It's like they would just go berserk. They go, "What is wrong with you people?" Because back then, everything made sense to them because there was like some consistency. My grandfather tried to enlist in World War I,
My great-grandfather fought World War I.
but they rejected him because they found out he was only 14 years old.
Aha.
But I love that World War II generation.
Feisty little kid,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, I like Nabisco shredded wheat, the giant biscuits because you can take it, you can crumple it up and then spread it out, put some honey on it and milk or whatever. I just like that. I'd like going back to simpler times. If I had a time machine, I would take all of us back to a simpler time until I found one that I liked.
Hmm.
Would you go with me?
Well, yeah, we should stick
What
together, I think.
what time would you go back to?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I know the problems now, and I don't know. I'm sure there are problems that we've forgotten about from back then. So,
Like World War II,
well, I mean, who else
Nazi
can think of
Germany?
like I'm not sure that
Yeah, but I
it's
think
reality.
there have always been wars.
I mean,
There have always been famines. There's always been hard times. I think the difference is back then, people had the same moral code, they had the same belief system, and they stuck together and they helped each other out. And that's what I miss.
well, that makes sense. Yes, like
Yeah.
we really don't know our neighbors, and even if I try to, it doesn't seem like they really want to know us either. It's like there's just this
Yeah.
differences that
Everybody is very tribal. It's like, okay, the world's dangerous out there. I'm gonna hunker down in my
tribal in
it,
their house, not in their
yes, hunker
neighborhood.
down in my house
House. Yeah, it's too
with
small of
my,
a
my
hunkering.
wife, my kids, maybe my grandkids, that kind of
Maybe,
a thing.
yeah, if they'll
So, but anyways, that's why I like shredded wheat,
the
the big biscuits.
big biscuits.
But enough of that.
Oh, it's nice.
What are we going to talk about on the show today?
All right. Today we are talking with Doug Giles all about his new book, The Bible and Hunting. Then in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be talking to Houston Denham from Oklahoma all about a 14-year-old who killed 2 home invaders.
Yeah, he did a good job too. That's some good discussion we've got coming up. You guys out there, if you have fond memories of shredded wheat, send me an email, skipcoriel@hotmail.com. I'd like to know I'm not the only idiot out there who's reminiscing with shredded wheat. But before we get too far into the show, let's thank our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Centershot Indoor Gun Range, Apple Tree Media, and now Trinity Training and Security. All right, Sarah, what's in the news today?
Trump takes control of Metro Police, deploying National Guard to take on Washington crime. President Donald Trump announced Monday that he's activating approximately 800 National Guard troops and is taking over the Metropolitan Police Department to tackle crime in Washington.
This is the Washington, D.C., not Washington State, right?
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
After beefing up federal law enforcement presence in the nation's capital on Saturday. I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., Trump told reporters at a Monday press conference. And they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. Trump also said that he would federalize the Metropolitan Police Department in Washington to respond to crime, placing it under the authority of Attorney General Pam Bondi.
That sounds pretty good to me. When's the last time you went to Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, I've been asking for a while, and my husband says it's too dangerous. So
Oh,
I have to talk to him about that.
Well, as always, your husband is correct.
He's good about keeping us safe.
Well, the last time I went to Washington, D.C. was when we held the Second Amendment March. And that was what? That was April 19th, 2010, I think.
Phoenix was a baby.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't take you, did I?
My grandfather had passed away, and I had to go to Kansas that weekend with the kids.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't safe then either. It wasn't safe then. The time before that, I went to Washington, D.C., was my senior trip for high school in 1975. It was safe then.
I was not yet born.
I know you weren't yet born, but I was just waiting for you.
Just killing time in DC, eh?
Well, it was wonderful because, I went to the Marine Corps Iwo Jima Memorial, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Arlington Cemetery, went to the Washington Monument, all of the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial is awesome. but it's like people can't go there anymore because violent crime is so rampant that you're taking your life into your own hands if you visit the capital of our country. That is sad, and it kind of makes me angry
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't have to be that way. It's like every blue city in the nation has this problem, and it's like try to defund the police. Every time someone gets arrested, you say they're a racist. The cops,
Mm-hmm.
you say they're a racist.
Right.
If you send them, you can't send them to prison because they're black. I mean, they actually say these things.
It's pretty crazy talk.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I'm starting to see a little bit of sanity from a small splinter group of the Democrat Party. Okay.
Well, that's good. Let's fan
One
that flame.
that comes to mind is Bill Maher, the comedian.
Okay.
It's like he's definitely, you know, liberal,
Mm-hmm.
as liberal as most of the others, but he's not brain dead, and he realizes that they have taken this thing way too far. And he's telling other liberals, "Say, you guys got to back off." At this point, it's almost like a self-preservation issue.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the liberals will never really be defeated. They won't. They won't. They'll just mutate into something else and come back. They'll keep rebranding themselves, repackaging themselves, and they'll just keep trying to sell us something that we don't want. Um, and so that's why, who was it that said, the price of freedom is eternal vigilance? You can never let your guard down. And the thing is, with this thing, I think Donald Trump is doing exactly the right thing. It has to happen. It's like a now or never thing.
You have to have law and order.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be done fairly and equally, regardless of what color you are or how rich or poor you are, or any of that. But there has to be law and order, which applies to everyone.
Well, yeah, I agree. And I
Yeah.
think
I
I think
think that
most Americans do agree with that.
I think most liberals would agree with that. They want a safe place too. They might not perceive it as dangerous, but I mean, they
Well,
wouldn't
I
be able to
think
walk around the streets with their
the
kids
the
too.
liberals, they need to wake up. And
Sometimes I think they're reading different news outlets than we are.
well, maybe they are, but I don't know. It's frustrating for me because it's not just them that they're hurting.
Right. It's
They're hurting
everybody.
everybody,
Hmm.
the whole country.
Yeah.
I mean, they made us a laughing stock in front of the world. Crime way up,
So
all of
that
this stuff.
damaged other countries, if you ask me,
Oh,
because then there
definitely.
was global destabilization from that.
Yeah, a weak America is not good for
The
the
other
world.
victims of dictators
Yeah.
around us.
All right. Go. What else does he have there?
Okay. National Guard troops are reserve forces that are mobilized in response to state and federal operations, including natural disasters, and are typically overseen by their respective state governments. However, Trump controversially deployed National Guard troops from California to respond to immigration riots in June, bypassing California Governor Gavin Newsom to dispatch the troops. The federal government oversees the District of Columbia National Guard. Quote, what a shame. Rate of crime. The rate of muggings, killings, and everything else. We're not going to let it, and that includes bringing in the National Guard. Maybe very quickly, too. Trump told reporters Wednesday at the White House. Trump also told reporters at the time he was open to taking over Washington's Metropolitan Police Department because crime in the nation's capital is, quote, ridiculous. While a temporary federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department is justified in cases of emergency, Trump's move will likely be challenged in court over whether the situation in Washington qualifies as an emergency. Trump has historically railed against violence in Washington and said Tuesday that crime is, quote, totally out of control in the nation's capital.
Yeah, I think it is a national emergency,
Well,
not just in Washington, D.C., but in every major
the
blue
blue
city.
And they like to challenge him in court anyways. It seems to be their favorite pastime. So
Yes. Well, when you think about it, is there a major red city?
I almost feel like that's an oxymoron.
Yeah, I can't think of a single large city that's controlled by Republicans.
Republicans don't like it that way. They like everybody to have their space and spread out in it
They
and
like
do their
freedom.
own thing and
That's right.
not be in each other's business.
Yeah, it's Trump is having to deal with so many things, and every single time he proposes a solution, he's taken to court
Yeah.
by
Kickback.
the
Kickback.
Democrats. Every single time
Yeah.
he tries to fix it, and then they say no.
No, no,
I
no,
mean,
no.
Trump could say, "All right, we're going to cure cancer now,"
And
and they would say, "No way, we're taking you to court on that one." They would do it. They would. It's just nuts. These people are crazy.
they don't like him at all.
They hate him.
Yeah.
They hate him like
Well,
crazy.
pray for our president. He needs a lot of it.
Well, he's trying to do so much.
Yeah. And just pray for him.
Yeah.
He needs a lot of it.
All right. Well, hey, that's good. I think it's a good thing. We're going to follow that.
All right.
Crime, the Home Defense Show. We talk a lot about crime.
We do.
And speaking of crime,
Yep.
the Home Defense Show Hero of the Week.
Ooh, that's a good one. All right. Cincinnati viral beating victim says violent mob started attacking like a pack of wolves. You guys have probably seen this video. I don't know. The woman seen being violently slammed to the ground and now viral footage of a brutal beatdown in downtown Cincinnati is speaking out after being forced into hiding following her near-death experience that was seen nationwide. Holly, a Ohio native and single mother of 3, was enjoying a night out celebrating a friend's birthday when she called an Uber to head home. As she was waiting for her ride, several fights broke out on the corner of 4th and Elm Street in the city's downtown area around 3 a.m. on July 26. Footage obtained by Fox News Digital shows an unidentified man yelling racial slurs while being beaten in the street. Additional videos of the scene shows a male victim slapping a member of the group seconds before the fight escalated. And that's when everyone, like a pack of wolves, just jumped in and started attacking, Holly said. I heard a man crying on the street, and he looked at me and held out his hand, Holly said, and he literally said, please God, help me, please God. You can't hear it in any of the videos because all you hear is everybody on the street cheering each other on to curb stomp these people and to kick them and punch them and attack them while they were down. Bystander footage shows Holly running between 2 men as the fight broke out in an attempt to stop the brutal beating. I felt it was necessary to at least jump in and try to help and save this man's life, Holly said. It looked like they were about to kill him to me, and that's why I couldn't stand there and do nothing.
All right, let's stop right there for a second. That's why she's the hero.
It was crazy brave.
Well, it was brave. She did the right thing. She did the moral thing.
She did the moral thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's the golden rule? Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what she did. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you that a large amount of people look at her and say, she's not a hero, she's just stupid. She put herself in harm's way, and she shouldn't have done that. She should have watched out for herself.
For number one.
Yeah.
It's a cultural thing we got going.
Yeah. And
but it's not a moral thing. Good thing God didn't think that.
Well, the thing is, shame on all of the men that were standing around with their phones up there in front of them, videotaping that.
Yeah.
While a woman almost died and a man almost died.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that.
I don't even understand why they're videotaping it. I don't get it.
They're going to put it on YouTube or whatever and get.
Are these all famous YouTube people? And
No, they're not. They're just everyday people who want to be famous.
Well, then do the right thing. This Holly person's famous now. I mean, she's all over the place.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was
she had to go into hiding because she's so
Yes,
famous.
there was quite a price.
Yeah.
Quite a price for that, Doug.
Well, anyways.
Go ahead.
Got to do the right
thing.
thing.
To the end there.
It was just ungodly. I cannot shake the images. It goes on a loop over and over. It keeps replaying. It was very traumatic. In the chaos, Holly was viciously slammed to the ground. I remember being afraid, terrified, Holly told Fox News Digital. I just remember my life flashing before my eyes, and all I can think is, dear God, I hope my children know that I love them. Video of the incident shows the single mother lying unconscious on the asphalt as blood pours from her mouth, with another individual eventually coming over to help her up. She quickly retreated to her Uber and went home, where she slept off her concussion. The next day, when I woke up, my whole face was black and blue and swollen, Holly said. I remember trying to take a drink, and everything poured out because it was so swollen. Upon realizing the severity of her injuries, Holly drove herself to a local hospital, where doctors diagnosed her with a severe concussion, along with neurological damage and injuries to her vision. The extent of her long-term physical injuries remains unknown as she continues to heal while visiting numerous medical specialists. However, the psychological impacts will follow her for the rest of her life. I'm having someone help take care of me financially, mentally, and physically, Holly said. It's very humbling. It's very embarrassing to not be able to just hang out by myself. I think that's the scary part, to not know just how deep the damage is going to be. Following her near-death experience, Holly has been forced into hiding as she recovers from her life-altering injuries. She has received online threats and was the target of thieves looking to scam an online fundraiser that was created on her behalf. Despite the hurdles, Holly is trying to find a silver lining in an attack that almost ended her life. She is working alongside Senator Bernie Moreno, Republican of Ohio, to introduce Holly's Act, aimed at keeping violent criminals from being released onto the streets of Ohio.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
I do, unfortunately.
I mean, no wonder. They're releasing violent criminals back onto the streets. And I think this is kind of an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Your police friends have mentioned
that's
a thing, even in our little area.
Well, 10% of the people do 90% of the crime. That's the way it works. It's the same people committing the same crimes over and over and over again because we just let them out. I mean, what would happen if Holly had pulled out a gun and shot someone?
It would have looked different. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everyone else would have backed off. They would have kept filming, but who cares? They would have stopped attacking. You shoot one of them and the mob disperses.
Okay.
Because it's no longer fun anymore. Okay. And I think that's what it's going to take. I mean, would Holly have been charged with a crime in Cincinnati? Probably. Just like the Daniel Penny guy from New York City, the subway hero.
Well, she's a woman. She might get away with more because
well,
of
she might. Yeah, she might.
And in defense of someone else who was on the ground being curb stomped, they call it.
I think she would have been charged, but she would have beaten it. You know, it's sad that
she'd have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's sad that we have to think about, all right, what are we going to do if you and I are walking, you know, downtown and we get attacked by, 10 teenagers? I'm going to shoot them, honey. I'm just, and it's not out of anger. It's out of, we might die. We might die because these guys, they're stomping, they're kicking, they're punching. And I'm not a 20-year-old Marine anymore.
No, we would not take
even a 20-year-old Marine. He's not going to take on 10 teenagers.
No.
You can't do it.
No.
Okay.
Well, they might have a little drugs in their system too. I mean, that makes them.
Well, that might be true too. But hey,
I mean, their morals are mixed up.
Why do you get me worked up like this? Why do you do this?
I'm sorry.
Man, I can't believe you do that. Every week you get me all worked up. All right. Well, maybe Doug Giles in the next segment can get me
calm you down.
Can get me calmed down. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I doubt that very highly.
Who's coming up next, Sarah?
All right. Well, next is, as you said, Doug Giles here to talk about his new book, The Bible and Hunting. Favorite subjects, I think. Then in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be talking with Houston Denham from Oklahoma, all about a 14-year-old who killed 2 home invaders.
Yeah, I think you're going to like that one too.
Yeah, like a good story.
Definitely. All right. But in the meantime, God bless and stay safe. And try and calm down. Remain calm.
Eat your shredded wheat.
It's gonna be okay. Eat that shredded wheat. A little bit of maple syrup on it. Not too shabby.
Find a gluten-free version of shredded wheat. Let me know.
In the meantime, God bless and stay safe, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, Or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
In today's world, safety and preparedness are more important than ever. At Trinity Training and Security, we offer comprehensive training for your peace of mind. Whether you're obtaining your concealed pistol license, mastering CPR and first aid, or engaging in scenario-based training, we've got you covered. We look forward to working with you in one of our classes or bringing the class to your church, school, or business. Need security for an event? Protecting your assets? Our team provides private security, close protection, media crew escorts, high security terminations, and more. Always with discretion and professionalism. With Trinity, safety is more than a service. It's a commitment.
The mere sound of his voice makes women swoon and men storm the gates of hell. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coriel.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. Folks, we live in a dangerous world, and I want you to be able to protect and defend the ones you love. And that's why I have this show. It's my way of empowering you to accomplish one of your primary jobs in life. You are a protector and a defender. All right, listeners, before we get too far into the show, don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range, and Appletree Media, and our newest sponsor, Trinity Training and Security. Without our sponsors, this show wouldn't be on the air, so we thank you all. And now I'd like to welcome a good friend of mine, a longtime friend of the show. He's a very prolific author. He's Doug Giles from the great state of Texas. Doug, welcome back to the Home Defense Show.
Skip, how you doing, big dog?
I am doing fantastic. I'm braving the heat, but I know I'm barking at the wind. When you talk to someone from Texas about the heat in the summer, you pretty much, and you're in Michigan, you fall on deaf ears, don't you?
Yeah, it's hot down here, man. It feels like some big old fat woman is sitting on your chest, licking your face.
Oh, that's terrible. I'm going to have that image for the rest of the day. I'm going to have to, I don't know, read scripture or something to get that image out of my head now. But yeah, it's only like 85 here today. But you must do a lot of hot weather hunting. You hunt out in Africa, don't you? I mean, Africa is like jungle hot, right?
Yeah, I've just living in Miami for 20 years, so we've moved back to the motherland, the great Republic of Texas, 10 years ago. But living in Miami, man, I'm telling you, if the temperature in Texas or wherever drops below 64, I'm a wuss. You remember when I was in Michigan
Yeah.
doing a speaking event and it was blowing snow sideways? I couldn't
Hmm.
even talk, shaking so much. So
Well,
yeah, I love warm weather hunting, like in the spring here. Actually, not spring, it's July and August. The axis deer are in full rut, and so it's hot. And but you know what? I like it better than snow. That's just me. I love hunting Alaska. I've hunted Alaska 3 times, spent 51 days up there. And but it's always in the spring and not in the fall. So yeah, Africa, great mild temperatures. It's not really hot. And it's kind of like San Diego type temps. I mean, it can get, a scorching, especially around October and November. But yeah, I avoid those months because it's just too over the top. And
yeah.
plus the rut's pretty, gone by for most of the antelope species that I'm hunting. But yeah, I love, hunting in a t-shirt and shorts. And that's all a good day, man.
Well, I've been doing that the last 3 years. My neighbor, he's got like, 500,000 acres or whatever, just a farm. And here in Michigan, um, basically it's corn and soybeans, alfalfa, a little bit of wheat. And, he came over to me and he said, "Hey, the deer are tearing up my corn. They're eating away all my profit. Can I get you to come and shoot some deer on crop damage permits?" And I said, "Well, hey, I don't mind doing that." I said, "But do we get to keep the meat if we shoot the deer?" And he says, "Oh, that's a requirement. You have to eat the meat." And I said, "I'm all in." And so he handed me 10 crop damage permits, and that was
Come on.
3 years ago. I've been filling my freezer in July and August for the last 3 years, and I tell you, there's things I like about it, but I'm not a heat kind of a guy. I like the fall better.
Yeah, I get it, man. And like I said, Miami ruined me. I mean, I barely wore clothes when when I was in Miami. And the fishing, the offshore fishing the cuts for tarpon and snook, the backwater stuff in the bay that's loaded with permit and bonefish, and it's just a constant, endless summer. And where we moved outside of Austin, pretty much the same thing. Might have a snow every 3 years or something like that, but I'm cool with it.
Okay. Well, if you start to miss the snow, you know where I
Yeah,
live.
I
You
know where to
just
go.
you come on up there because the snow seems to follow you. Every time you come to Michigan, there's like some kind of a blizzard or something.
Yeah, yeah, it's great, man.
Right. Well, all right. Speaking of hunting, I know you're a worldwide hunter. You love doing all that stuff. You're good at it. But your latest book is called The Bible and Hunting. It's an incredible book. Tell the people a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I came up with the idea, the Bible and hunting, because when I lived in South Florida, again, I'm a Christian pastor, talk show host down there on a huge station, had a #1 rated show. And because I'm so vocal about hunting and the benefits of hunting, not only for the animal, but for land and conservation and nature in general, there's a lot of Christians, Skip, that were like, you know, Jesus doesn't like you putting the bam to Bambi. And, the scripture says, thou shalt not kill, and eating meat is bad for you. Just crap like that. I heard so much unbiblical stuff, man, coming from Christians that I knew I was right. I mean, I didn't do any kind of in-depth study through the scripture to whether, these doe-eyed tree humpers are correct in their assessment on God poo-pooing our pursuits. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to shut your mouth forever. And so I took the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, from the table of contents to the maps, and scoured it, man. I went through every single chapter looking for one verse, Skip, one, not 10, not 5, not 3, one verse that was anti-hunting. And guess what? I came to the conclusion that if somebody could show me one anti-hunting verse in the Holy Bible, that I will eat a tube sock because it's not there.
That doesn't surprise me, but the thing with when you're talking to anti-hunters, it's like they're rabid, vacuous, almost brain dead, and they think with their feelings. So it's hard to argue with them. You know, my opinion is, you know, I'm going to get to heaven, and Jesus is going to meet me, and he say, "So, Skip, you get your deer this year?" And he already knows. But you know, that's my view of Jesus. I mean, he made deer for us to eat, and I love to shoot them, and I love to eat them. My family ate 8 deer last year, and we ran out 2 months early. So this year,
The
I'm
thing,
going to have to
I
shoot
get it.
10.
I get the emotional blather coming from a non-Christian secularist in regards to, you know, the quote unquote evils of our hunting. I don't get it when a Christian is influenced by an anti-Christian, anti-biblical culture, and then they take on board again the doe-eyed tree humpers animus towards hunting. And so that's why, you know, I was addressing it to the believer, because they need to understand, like in all things, you know, there is a biblical Christian worldview. And it's not just in regards to, you know, family. It's not just in regards to culture or politics. It's also there's a biblical worldview for hunting. And so my job, Skip, my gift that God's given me is to put brains and balls on believers. And so I saw it as my duty to educate these poor, you know, vexed, quote unquote Christians that think that hunting again is a bad thing, or it's just, you know, mildly tolerated by God. And I show them clearly in the book, The Bible and Hunting, that hunting is not only tolerated, it was God's idea in the first place. And he called that ability to pursue venison as a blessing. So it's a blessing from God for us to, like I said, put the bam to Bambi. And that's and that flies right in the face of Disney and all the vegans that worship their edamame beans and their, you know, baby carrots and spinach.
Yes. Well, I married someone from the West Coast, you know, the Oregon coast, and she's conservative, but she likes vegetables and greens and things like that. And I'm from the Midwest. It's like meat and potatoes. I mean, we get along just fine. I love her. She loves me, but I have to tolerate her kale smoothies, and she has to tolerate, you know, steaks on the grill, and we get along just fine. But I'm looking at your table of contents here on this book, The Bible and Hunting. Who killed the first animal according to the Bible? Who did that?
Yeah, this will mess with again the anti-hunting, anti-killing of animals. Most people, they don't even get it. They don't even get close, man. But the first person in the scripture that says whacked an animal was God himself. When Adam and Eve fell in the garden from their felicitous state, you know, walking around naked and naming critters and stuff, and Eve, stupid Eve, she buys into the serpent's temptation, and old nutless Adam, who should have cut that snake's head off or smashed him against the tree he was slithering in, instead abnegated his responsibility. They covered themselves with fig leaves and hid themselves in the garden from God, like you can do that. And so God was not going to allow them to cover their nakedness with the fig leaf. Now they needed bloodshed, which typifies Christ's sacrifice for us in the New Testament. And so God, it says clearly in Genesis chapter 3, that he covered them with animal skins. And I don't think God would skin an animal alive, because that would be super cruel.
I think you're right.
God's the first one who put an animal down. And this is interesting also, is that he utilized, and he could have done anything. He could have covered them, with, I don't know, bark, or maybe some papyrus, or some kind of sawgrass, or something like that, man. And he didn't do it. He used leather and fur. So I tell the PETA and all the Pam Andersons out there, it's like, if you want to be like God, shoot an animal and then use its leather to make you a loincloth and a miniskirt. And that's exactly what God did.
That makes sense. Makes sense to me. But these are like simple things that we like read over the top of them our whole lives until someone actually points it out. So that's one of the good things about the book, is you point out the obvious things that we've been reading our whole lives, but it never really struck us. So that's a good thing. What about Noah's Ark? I love the chapter titles here. Was Noah's Ark one big floating game ranch? Talk about that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, everybody knows the whole Noah's Ark story, and there's big like amusement parks, I think in Kentucky, where they have a life-size ark, and it's such a wonderful children's story about a floating menagerie, and it's so sweet that God saved those animals, and the reality is in Genesis 9:1-6 that God said, "Hey Noah, you see all these animals that you gathered here?" He said, "They're food for you. They're food for you now. So not just plants anymore. As I gave you plants, now I give you them." And so, as Ted Nugent would say, he got to breathe the air of backstrap fever, and he's gonna morph those things into chicken fried steak. And again, people miss that. That's when God, enacted in the Noahic covenant. He changed the menu again from edamame beans to giraffe tenderloins, and that's why I think when you step back and you actually read again Genesis 9:1-6, that you see that that's a big floating game ranch. God had those animals for Noah and his brood and the repopulation of the earth with humans, so that they could salt and pepper them. And it's just plain and simple. And people have to take an X-Acto knife and cut that chunk of scripture out of their Bible in order to dismiss it, because it's right there in black and white. And it's in the first book of the Bible, Skip.
Yes.
Like Genesis 1, have dominion over the animals. Genesis 3, God kills an animal and clothes Adam and Eve. Genesis 9, he tells Noah and everybody going forward that these animals are here for your consumption.
Yeah, that makes sense. Personally, I'm indebted. I'm glad that he did that, because man, I just love a good grilled steak, or a pork roast, or a beef roast, pot roast in general. Man, I just love it. I'm looking down here. Here's something that always seems to be screwed up by liberals, and even someone, just a Christian who doesn't know any better. It says, "Thou shalt not kill, but thou shalt hunt." Talk about that.
Yeah, so again, in the oh so sassy South Florida, with Christians that are influenced by CNN and the Kardashians instead of Jeremiah and John the Baptist, they always, well, not always, but pretty regularly, they'll come up with, well, the scripture says, "Thou shalt not kill," and what you're doing is killing. And it's usually a Christian. Again, I say that with air quotes around the word Christian, who is also, pro-choice.
Yes.
Yeah, and so the killing, "thou shalt not kill," literally in the Hebrews, "thou shalt not murder." So like an abortion or actual murder or euthanasia, It has nothing to do with, catching a bass and filleting it. It has nothing to do with, shooting quail. Nothing. Because again, as I established through the book, The Bible and Hunting, is that there's no prohibition against hunting at all. There is a caveat in like the book of Proverbs, I can't remember what chapter, where Solomon says, listen, if you shoot something, you need to eat it. And it says the sluggard doesn't do that. But again, it's not like, and you're going to hell for it. So it doesn't have that. It just says, listen, a sluggard doesn't roast his game. And so if you whack it, then, not only put it on the wall, but, eat it or take it to some homeless shelter and have somebody, consume it and stuff. The whole aspect of thou shalt not kill is thou shalt not murder. So unjust wars, again, abortion, euthanasia, actual murder, that's what's prohibited in the Decalogue. It has nothing to do with legal, legitimate hunting, period. Yeah. And again, to try to get somebody who's been acculturated by anti-hunting sentiments who calls himself a Christian, it's like, it's hard to knock it into them, man. It's really hard to knock it.
Yeah, it's like they care more what society tells them than what God tells them. And I see that as that's a big problem. If you care more about what you see on The View than, whatever Oprah says or, one of these talking heads, if you care more about what they say than what God says, that's a really big problem. How can you even call yourself a Christian if you don't care what God says?
Yeah, and again, there's a worldview, a biblical worldview for every activity under the sun. And, as a teacher, my job is to renew the mind. And again, I know that, hunting is not on the top of what we need our mind renewed about, but it is an activity, a profuse activity that's spoken of, as you well know, as the editor of my book, all throughout the scripture, that, I don't want to be ignorant from a biblical standpoint on any topic that I deal with as a 62-year-old man. And I think it behooves Christians also to not be in the dark, on any topic that they deal with and run it through the sieve of the scripture. And it's weird. So you can get Christians, and again, this is not a lot because I'm seeing the tide really turn, in pro hunting, and you get, the Meat Eater series on Netflix, and just a lot of great stuff out there on social media. But that came, via yeoman's labor to fight against culture and all the bull crap that's, being spawned from the left and off university campuses. And I think, with people getting more and more, thanks to RFK Jr., to where they're terrified of processed foods loaded with poisons and dyes and all this can't creating garbage that, what you and I've been doing I've been doing it for 40 plus years. I'm sure you the same, is that our main source of meat is low fat, high protein, free range until, we let the air out of it with a bullet. And there's nothing better than that. There's this lady, I can't remember her name, but she wrote The Vegetarian Myth. And she said at like 42 years old, the doctor said, lady, you better eat a burger like real quick because you're going to die. She destroyed her body. Skip, she looked like an 80-year-old woman at 42 because she thought meat was bad, and she's protein deficient Skeletor. And so she wrote a book, The Vegetarian Myth, it's a great apologetic for eating meat. She said, I've done irreversible damage to my body. I'm probably going to die real early. And she didn't say just any kind of meat, not store-bought, poison from stockyards, but hunting. And again, not like me or you or Nugent would, she made the case for hunting from a cautionary tale of what not to do and powerful apologetic for not being apologetic about eating hunted meat.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, this next question here. Was Jesus a vegetarian?
Right.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, again, it's like, Jesus wouldn't, hurt an animal. And we see pictures of him carrying a lamb. And I told this one person, it's like, have you seen that painting of Jesus carrying a lamb? And he goes, yeah, it's so wonderful. It's so sweet. I go, you know where he was carrying it, don't you? He's carrying it to the barbecue that him and the boy are about to enjoy in the upper room before he goes to the cross. Yeah, so not only was so Jesus clearly ate meat, and again, that's in I think it's in all four Gospels. I know it's in John's where he said the one who eats this meat with me is the one who's going to betray me. Speaking of Judas, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's clear, okay, it's the Passover lamb. They ate it, and also he drank wine. Don't tell the Baptist. And but from a flesh consumption, man, they crushed on the fish. I mean, Jesus not only ordained fishing, but he'd break their damn net with so many fish. And they weren't putting them in koi ponds, man. They were eating them. They were selling them at market. They were eating them themselves. And what's funny, when Jesus rose from the dead, and his disciples, they still don't get it. They have no clue. The only people that's believing he's resurrected was Mary Magdalene, another Mary, Mary the mother of Jesus, all the Marys. They got it. They saw him. They knew he was resurrected from the dead. But the disciples, they're terrified. They're going back to their old job because Jesus is dead, and they don't believe that he was raised from the dead. And so while they're out fishing in John 21, they see a dude on the beach grilling some fish. And I think Peter and John's like, that's him. And so they realized that he had raised from the dead because he was over there in that place where they used to do all their fish fries. And he's over there cooking up a mess of fish. And that's after he broke their nets, I think with 130 plus just giant whopping northern pike or something like that. And when he did that, they're like, okay, that could be him. And then they see him on the beach and they're like, that's the master. And they jump out of the boat and swim to him. So he made himself known through fishing, multiplication of fish, and those wonderful stories of, the kid with, 5 fishes and 2 biscuits or something like that. And then he multiplies again meat. Hello, vegans. He multiplied meat and he fed people, and he himself consumed the fish and he consumed the lamb, unless that we know at the Last Supper. Not saying that he didn't do it, in the meantime, in between time, but again, you have to take an X-Acto knife and cut that stuff out to try to make Jesus, this guy who's walking around in like a beige peignoir with Birkenstocks, holding a peace sign, and telling everybody just to eat vegetables, because that's not the Son of God at all.
Yeah. Yeah. When I read the Bible, in light of, what I've read in your book, The Bible and Hunting, what I see is when hunting is mentioned in the Bible, it's not some special dispensation or a special topic. It's like, oh, this is the way that it is. It's part of everyday life. It's not a big deal kind of a thing. And I guess that's the way it's portrayed in the Bible. So that's the way I portray it here. Hey, it was part of their life. It's part of my life. And hey, what would Jesus do? I guess he'd kill the deer, he'd kill the fish, and he would eat them, because that's what he did when he was here, before he was crucified and after he rose from the dead.
Yeah, and again, it's have hunters done bad stuff? Yeah, I would say what especially here in the States, what idiots did in the Western expansion and just liquidating bison herds and pronghorn antelope and deer and turkey. And it was the hunters who came in and regulated all that stuff because we didn't want them shot out just because some jackass in Manhattan wanted a buffalo coat, you know?
Yeah.
And so the Bible has ethical hunting practices. And again, it goes back to Genesis 1, stewardship over the fish of the sea, the animals, the birds, and that's our role as a believer to make certain that the species is preserved as we utilize, these natural renewable resources. And again, that comes from the scripture. Those guys who were murdering, millions of buffalo, again, just for greed, that's condemned. So there's no way anybody can legitimize that kind of slaughter then, or any kind of unnecessary, unethical hunting now. Again, if the scripture is your guide, because it's obviously not there.
Yeah. Well, Doug, we're about out of time, but first, you've got a chapter here, the top 10 reasons why I love hunting. Just tell people, what are some of your top reasons for why do you love hunting so much?
Yeah, I got to say, one of the top reasons that I love hunting is it's devoid the camp, the fire, that magical time when you're afield. It's devoid of anti-God, anti-country, anti-traditional values people. I think I've, once had a 3-day overlap in Zimbabwe where we had some liberal, crap spewing jackass in camp, and that was torturous because I mean you're 2 weeks in Zim and you got to have a 3-day listen to this weirdo from the state of Washington yarble on. So it brings you around good people, man. And I don't
Yeah.
mean, good in a salvific sense, but it's people who love, again, God. They love our nation, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, all that yummy stuff. It's a reprieve. Like if you live in Austin and you around all the stinky hippies that you don't get that in the hunting camp, and so that's a good thing. Also, and I'm kind of ticked off that technology's found a way to make our phones work when we're afield. But like 10 years ago, when you would go to Africa, it was a sat phone, and that was it. And I used it to call home like twice, during a 2 to 3 week safari. I love not being interrupted by technology. And so what I do now is, basically put my phone on do not disturb mode and let, my wife and kids know if they need an emergency. I'll check it like every, twice a day or something like that. But other than that, do not bother me.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like a jackass, but I want to take in, the water. I want to take in the countryside. I want to focus on, because if you're hunting, man, you got to focus. This is not just like I seldom do blind hunting. It's usually spot and stalk and glass. We do a lot of glassing, especially in deep West Texas and stuff. So I love that. And I love how hunting also, Skip, takes the funk out of dysfunctional family. If it
Mm.
weren't for hunting with my old man, I don't think I'd even known him. But every
Hmm.
year, in November and December, we would take 2 months out. And so we're pursuing game, but we're also talking to each other, man, and learning how to communicate with your old man when you're a drug-addled moron. That was a great mooring later in life. And we continued to hunt and fish up until he died at 84.
Wow. Yeah, that is great. Some of the best memories I have of my own father is I must have been like, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years old. Him with a bow in his hand, where on the edge of a field, he's sitting on a 5 gallon bucket, and I'm down between his legs, sitting on the ground, and we're watching deer, waiting for them to come close. But why would I remember that? Because it's been like over 60 years, but I still remember that. And it's like, he's modeling what it's like to be a real man by taking, his son hunting. I treasure that. I love it, and
Yeah.
I try to do it with my kids as well.
How cool is that, man? Instead of, everybody is at Disney World, it's full of jackasses. Everybody's got their head down, looking at their not so smartphone. And I tell, if there's somebody listening right now that's, hadn't gotten into hunting, and you got kids, man, and I know I speak for Skip, I would highly encourage really moving away from the concrete and the pavement, and take your kids, interface with them. I raised my daughters like that. They're still, my oldest is not so much of a hunter. She's not against it, but man, we hunted wild boar in the Florida swamps. We've shark fished and those beautiful shark infested waters in South Florida, sailfish. We milked it. And we lived outdoors. So instead of like, let's go to the mall, it's like, screw that. We're sitting on the fishing capital of the world. The Gulf Stream comes into Miami at the Haulover Inlet, and it's like 5 clicks off the shore. So we've got the super highway of all the big game fishing. And I wasn't going to do that to my daughters, and have them not experience what that little enclave has to offer, which again is world-class fishing. And yeah, my daughter Regis just got back from a 2-week safari in Tanzania. She hunted Cape buffalo, wildebeest, and yeah, did a lot of other stuff as well. She's been on 4 safaris, and she's got 2 of the big 5. She shot a lion and she shot a Cape buffalo this summer. So she's just got 3 more, the elephant, rhino, and leopard to go. It's just cool to see the baton pass. And
Yeah.
the kids want to do that again instead of play some damn video game or just stare at their phone. That's how you commit suicide. That's how you turn into a Jabba the Hutt blob. And as you know, archery, using a rifle and a shotgun with proficiency, you got to be disciplined. That
Yeah.
takes time. And so you can't spend, time on the screen unless you're doing, homework in regards to, you know, uh, flinging arrows and shooting rifles and stuff like that. And that's another thing I love about hunting is that people who do it right and they've done it for a long time, they are very disciplined.
Yeah.
They're very disciplined. Nugent
Well,
told me when I was getting into bow hunting, he said, I think he's like, shoot 1,000 arrows a month and do that for 12 months before you draw on an animal. And I did that. And Skip, I've been around archers and I've seen, guts and butts hit instead of vital organs. I never lost one animal. I stopped because I just really love rifles and stuff, and old British rifles in particular. But that's discipline. And that's what
yeah.
hunting provides. It's not just jackasses in the field, just firing weapons. I don't even know those kind of people. And when I have met them, I have run away from them.
Well, Doug, we're out of time, but I want people to get this book. So tell them one more time how they can find this book.
Yeah, The Bible and Hunting, The Bible and Hunting. It's over on Amazon. Just go over there, click your mouse, melt your plastic. This is a great gift if you're not a hunter for the boys and girls that for birthday and Christmas who love hunting and fishing. There's nothing like it. And it's it's informative. And I go, through Genesis to Revelation. And it's funny also. The audiobook is going to be out soon. And if you do a lot of windshield time driving around and stuff, the audiobook is great. It's Skip, I know I wrote it and I performed it. And I know this sounds self-congratulatory, but it's some funny stuff, man. There's a lot of great humor in there. I laughed so hard the other day listening to it that milk came out of my nostrils, Skip, and I haven't had milk for 36 years.
Yes. All right. Well, Doug, I want to thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today.
Thank you, Skip. Stay rowdy.
All right, this is Skip Coriel on Home Defense Show. Coming up next, we'll be speaking with self-defense instructor Houston Denham from the great state of Oklahoma in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, where we get some expert advice on the details of self-defense. But during the break, I want you to log into rumble.com and search on the Home Defense Show. I've posted a series of entertaining and educational videos there just for you. Check them out, and don't forget to like, share, and follow. And also go on Amazon.com and search on The Bible and Hunting by Doug Giles and pick up a copy of that as well. God bless and stay safe, because we will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Center Shot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Center Shot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
Attention business owners. Are you leaving your website open to security issues and hacking due to a lack of maintenance or overseas outsourcing? Don't let that happen to your business. Choose experienced U.S.-based website developers that can customize your website to fit your specific needs. Appletree MediaWorks has been growing businesses online since 2009. With over 80 years of combined experience, their team conducts constant research and development to keep up with ever-changing online threats. Your website deserves the best protection available. Call Appletree MediaWorks today at 877-977-1364 to keep your website secure and grow your business online. Or visit appletree.media.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me. And I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
He's old, he's cranky, his back hurts, and he can't remember where he put his car keys. But his mother still loves him. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coriel.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. And I'm your host, Skip Coriel. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, Appletree Media, and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. And don't forget our newest sponsors, Trinity Training and Security. And now it's time for our weekly self-defense report, sponsored by shootingclasses.com. And today we're speaking with firearms instructor Houston Denham from the great state of Oklahoma. Houston, thanks for coming back on the Home Defense Show today.
Great to be back here again.
Well, I wasn't sure if we were going to make it. We had a lot of trouble connecting this past week because all the, work and computer problems and all kinds of stuff like that. But I'm glad we finally got you on the line here, Houston.
Yeah, I am too. I really enjoy being on your show, Skip.
First, how are things in Oklahoma? Are you holding the fort down?
Holding it down, but it's hot. It's
all right.
99 degrees right now.
Yeah, well, that's hotter than here. It's 7:30 at night right now, and I think it's down below 90 here now. So yeah, it's been hot, and we haven't had rain, I think, for like 2 or 3 weeks. So yep, it's like jungle hot.
Yeah, it's very hot here.
All
We
right.
had a lot of rain here earlier, but it's been a couple of weeks, and now we got a dry heat going. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to read this article. This is an interesting article. It raises a lot of questions. So, this is from NBC News, and it says Kentucky teen shoots and kills 2 home invaders. A 14-year-old Kentucky boy shot and killed 2 men trying to steal firearms from a safe in a home over the weekend, police said. Clay County 911 got a call at about 4:24 a.m. Sunday about a shooting incident in Manchester. Manchester police found 2 people had been shot and requested assistance from Kentucky State Police said in a news release. Investigators found that the teen who lives at the home discovered the 2 men inside and saw them holding firearms, state police said. The juvenile, acting in self-defense, retrieved a handgun and shot both men before escaping through a bedroom window, according to the release. Manchester Police Chief Jeff Couch told NBC News on Wednesday that no additional residents were in the home. It is unclear how the teen was able to find the handgun, which belonged to his father, Couch said. The teen is not in custody, he said. State police identified the 2 men as Roger D. Smith, age 44, and Jeffrey M. Allen, age 51. Smith was taken to Advent Health Manchester, where he died from his injuries. Allen was pronounced dead at the scene. The Clay County coroner confirmed both deaths. The medical examiner performed autopsies Monday. The investigation continues. State police did not immediately respond to a request for comment. All right, that's what we know about that event. What are your initial thoughts? What jumped out at you here, Houston?
Well, they got what they deserved, to be honest.
Okay. Well, can you sugarcoat it for us, will you?
Okay, sugarcoat it. We are not, here in Oklahoma, we are not a retreat state. A lot of states want you to leave your home to let the bad guys just ransack your house. On my dad's side, I have a lot of deep roots in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And those families raise their kids differently than they raise them here in Oklahoma and probably everywhere else. The kid did what he was taught. He was protecting his homestead and his property inside his home. And, I don't know how to sugarcoat it any more than that. I mean, yeah, society is changing so much that people think that they can get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's going to happen. When you go to different states that are raised differently, my cousins in Kentucky will fight at a drop of a hat. And and here in Oklahoma, we try to de-escalate. But it's because that's what we were taught.
Yeah. Well, it's a little different in the Appalachians, right?
Yeah, you're just rolling the dice. I mean, you come across somebody. I mean, the kid did what he was supposed to do. The only problem that bothers me is this child is going to have to live with this for the rest of his life.
Yeah. He has to process it somehow, right?
Yes. And that's going to be very difficult for somebody that young.
Yeah.
It's difficult for military age men that are in the military, that are in the combat zone, and have to take somebody out. I mean, they have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah. That's what PTSD is all about, right?
Correct. Yes. And, I feel for the kid. I hope his family can, get him some help. That's my main concern. I could care less about the 2 thugs that were trying to rob anybody. It's the child that I'm worried about. And that's the big issue here. I mean, when you take a human life, you have to live with that for the rest of your life, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And me being in combat, and Skip, were you in combat? So
I was never in combat. I was a peacetime Marine, so I never had to go fight or kill anyone or anything like that.
There's certain things that really eat on you afterwards, and you never forget the faces, you never forget what happened, and it comes back to you. And the nighttime is always the worst. That's been my experience. when it's quiet and everybody's asleep, but you're still awake, and your subconscious is really working on you. I really hope that they can get him some help. I mean, he did fantastic. He was protecting his homestead. He did nothing wrong. He did what he needed to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. Personally, I don't see anything legally wrong with what he did. I don't see anything morally wrong with what he did. I mean, these guys came into his house. You're talking about 4 o'clock in the morning, and this kid, he's there by himself. Okay. And he wakes up and he sees two strange men, full grown men, carrying guns inside his house. He did exactly what I would want my kid. I have a 15-year-old son and a 19-year-old son here at the house. And that's exactly what I would want them to do. It's certainly what I was raised to do. Here in Michigan, we've got a law that says, if minor children have access to the home, you have to keep the gun locked up, and basically you can't give them the gun safe combination or the key or anything like that. I don't agree with that, because I grew up in a house where, shotguns were tools, right? What did we use
Correct.
shotguns for? I mean, we shot crows, we shot rats in the barn, and we were encouraged to get rid of varmints, right? And these were two-legged varmints that were inside his house. I thought there was some irony there, because these guys broke in to steal guns, and they didn't get guns, but they did get the ammunition, and it was inserted, with extreme force, and they both died. That's the irony there for me.
Too bad for them, but yeah, the kid did what he was trained to do, taught to do. What good is it if you don't start training your kids to learn handgun or firearms training right off the bat? If he'd had that gun in a lockbox and he did not have the combination, what could have happened? They could have killed him.
Yeah, they could have.
And that's the other side of the sword.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important that we, as gun owners, educate our children and our grandchildren and everybody that wants to be involved with firearms to be safe and know how to handle a gun properly.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. Basically, my kids, I started teaching them as soon as they're old enough to hold the gun safely, as soon as they're cognizant. When they're 5 years old, I start them out, but I hold the gun with them, and I teach them how to do it. And they only shoot it when I'm with them, and I don't give them unrestricted access to it. I mean, they have to ask, and they got to go through, safety training, marksmanship training,
yes,
all of this stuff, right?
Yes.
Because if you don't do that, you're turning your gun safe into Pandora's box. And so kids want to get into it. But, hey, this guy, what do you think about his marksmanship?
I think it's fantastic. I think his dad taught him very well. And his dad did an outstanding job. The kid did his job. And now we got two thugs that we don't have to worry about stealing from anybody else.
Yeah, well, these guys were...
And I don't mean to be cold, but that's just me. I don't have time to sugarcoat a lot of things. I'm straightforward.
Yeah.
If we got pieces of crap out here that continue to do things they're not supposed to because they think they can get away with it and put other people's lives in danger.
The thing is, probably what? 10% of the people do 90% of the crime. And these guys were career criminals, and they'd been doing crime for they were in their 40s and 50s. So they've committed a lot of crimes, and they're not going to commit any more crime. I'm not happy that, a 14-year-old boy had to go through the trauma of killing them, but I'm happy that the boy is alive, that he protected himself, he protected his home. And my hope is that all the people around him, his friends, his family, the police, are telling him, hey, son, you did a good job. You did what you had to do. It was perfectly legal. It was moral. And, in our eyes, you are a hero. You should not feel bad about this. I think they need that kind of positive reinforcement from people in authority and the people that he loves.
I agree. I agree 100%. Those, like I said earlier, I hope he gets the support and the backing and anything else he needs, whether it be counseling or anything else, because it's very difficult to take a human life and then you're going to be questioning yourself,
Yeah.
over and over and over. Did I do the right thing? Even though people are telling me, you still have your own personal morals that you have to deal with, even on the battlefield. I mean, I've talked to soldiers after a firefight, that they would ask me, did I do the right thing? I said, yeah, they're trying to kill you. You're doing the right thing. I said, you got to kill them. I mean, that's what war's about.
Yeah.
But it would still eat on them to the point that a lot of issues at home. It would cause a lot of issues with their marriage. It would cause a lot of issues. I mean, a lot of people can't deal with it. That's what people don't understand is, you can talk all day that I can take somebody's life if they're trying to harm my family, but can you deal with it afterwards?
Right. Yeah.
And people don't realize that. And, there's a lot of questions. Does your religion allow you to do that? Can you turn your feelings off and make it happen? I mean, there's so many different avenues out there that people don't realize. Okay, I've got my gun permit and now I can defend myself, but if you have to, next thing you know, you're questioning your decision after you've had to unlife somebody. So
yeah. Well, and I think part of that's a healthy thing to question. Okay, in like an after action analysis, right? Here's what I did. Did I do the right thing? Talk to other people, get reinforcement. If you did something wrong, then you own up to it and you do better next time. But if you did it all right, you've got to say, all right, I did it all right. I didn't have a choice. I think probably being angry at these two men that are dead now would be appropriate because they forced him to do something that he should not have had to do at 14 years of age.
Correct. Yes.
Well, okay, Houston, I think we've picked that apart pretty good. We've dealt with some really good points. Before you go, will you tell people how they can contact you about more training, where they can find out more about you?
Well, you can contact me at shootingclasses.com/TAC/. We do everything from young guns training, which starts at around 8 or 9 years old, for firearm safety and fundamentals of marksmanship. And then we work our way all the way up to defensive shooting. We do tactical training, and we also do disability shooting. I'm still learning myself. Any instructor that tells you that he knows everything, you better run from him, because
that's
more every day. So,
you got that right, Houston. All right. Well, Houston, thank you very much for being on the Home Defense Show today, and thank you for your analysis.
Thank you, Skip. I love being here.
All right, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time, and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to thank our sponsors, Center Shot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, Apple Tree Media for website security, and the United States Concealed Carry Association. For all your self-defense needs, go to uscca.com. All right, I've written 20-plus books, and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my novel, Bond of Unseen Blood. If you're a deer hunter, I think you'll like it. And also check out the Home Defense Show videos on rumble.com. And if you want training from me in person, then check out Midwest Tactical Training at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys!
Have fun storming the castle!